Well, it's going on about 4:20. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up before the lights start coming on. I did make it through and got all my plexiglass cut. You know, in fact, I made up one extra panel just to play it safe. I still need to go through here with a putty knife and very carefully go over the edges. When you cut plexiglass, it tends to melt a little bit and it'll leave a burr around the edges. So I need to go through and get that cleaned off. That one, I've obviously got the protective film off of. I have to do these as well too, so I got that to do yet. And I can do that in the house later. I switched over since I've been worried about time out here with the Christmas lights, and I got my grooves cut with my router. They're not very straight, they're kind of squiggly, but it doesn't matter. It gives me a channel to put the wire in, and then I can come back through and I'll putty that up so it can't be seen, and then we can sand and paint. And I got the holes drilled I need too, and I drilled them at an angle, you know, so they're pointing down into the box. And I got a few of the smaller ones done too with the holes drilled. And you can see the white mark on the box there. That's the groove I cut. I'll get out here tomorrow. I'll get those finished up, and then we'll move the project into the house. But for tonight, I'm taking the rest of the night off. I'm not pushing it. In fact, I took yesterday off from prop building and worked on some other projects around the house that needed to get done, and I spent most of the day today doing that and got everything caught up and finished. So that's why I'm out prop building again. But next segment will be tomorrow. Stay tuned. Well, it's next day. I'm out here fairly early. What is it now? Oh, it's 9:30. I've been out here about an hour and a half. I've been working on the boxes. I went, got my grooves cut in yesterday, and as you can see there's a hole there. That's for the LED. When I got done, I went ahead and took a sander to the box and sanded it down. All the boxes are going to be getting repainted, but for the moment I'm as far as I can go on the boxes. So I switched my attention over to the plexiglass, and I've gone through and I've gotten the film, the protective film off. And while I was doing that, from the cutting process, there is some slop on the edge of all the sheets around and around them. To get the slop off, I'm simply using a putty knife. Let's see if I can do this here and get it on camera. I can't. But anyway, I'm just basically going over lightly scraping around the edges on both sides and on the ends with a putty knife to get all that slop cleaned off. And this is my last piece, so it's for the big box. But I'm trying to get this done, and then I'll show you what happens next. Alright, after I get all the plexiglass cleaned up, the next step is mounting them to the boxes. Now I've got this one sitting up on the box, and what I'm going to do is I've got two options. I got to get a hole in the corners for my screws so I can mount this to the box. And I've got two options. One, I could use a drill and drill it. The problem is drills have a habit of shattering plexiglass. So what I found is the best thing to use is an old soldering iron. Plug it in, let it get hot, and then figure out where you want your hole and just simply press it down onto the plexiglass and melt a hole through the thing. And I'll keep it from shattering. Once I get all my holes in on the box, I'll go ahead and permanently mount this with 4 screws onto the box. I'm going to have to come back because each of the boxes aren't exactly square. They're a little off here or there. Some are square, some aren't. This is one that isn't, and if you notice here, the plexiglass, or this box, is not truly square. So the plexiglass is hanging over, which means I'm going to have to get rid of that extra plexiglass because I don't want to lip a plexiglass around the edge. So what I'll do is once the holes are done, once I put the screws through and mount this to the box in the position I want it, I've got a little disc sander over there. And I'll take the box over there and run it through the disc sander to clean up that edge and to square it off. Now, since I've got other steps I got to do with the box, you know, putting the LED in and paint and what have you, I'm going to have to remove this panel, this plexiglass panel. And I want to make sure the plexiglass panel gets back on the box, the right box. So what I did for the haunt is I went and numbered the boxes. This is box number 7. I got an arrow pointed to the top, and, you know, and that's where the LED goes. I'm not sure what number box this is, but anyway, at the top I'll put a piece of tape and I'll write the number of the box on it. That way, you know, I'm doing the other steps. I take the plexiglass, set it back to the side. I'll know, you know, like if this was going on number 7, I know, you know, anyway, it'll be labeled for the box. That way I can get the right panel back onto the right box. Anyway, I gotta get the holes melted through, get this mounted, run it through the disc sander. Then we're going to be moving back into the house and we'll finish off the project in the house, where it's a lot warmer. Well, we're in the mini Dragon's Lair workshop. In other words, my workshop down in the basement of my house. I've brought everything in that I've needed, and I've gone through, gotten the plexiglass off, and the first step we're going to do is a little bit of painting. When I drilled the holes for the LEDs, it chipped the wood out a little bit. So I went in, sanded it down, that took some of the paint off. So the gray on the inside needs a touch up. So I'm going to go ahead and get those painted before I start on to the next step. I got my brushes, I got my paint, I got the boxes. Time to get messy. Now that I've got the gray finished, touched up and finished, I've got them sitting off to the side. So while they're drying, I'm converting over to another aspect, the main project. LED lighting. I got LEDs, I've got resistors, and I got the wire I'm going to use down in the basket underneath the table down there. I was talking to Sue. I've got 10 different colors I can choose from to do lighting inside these boxes. I'll highlight the urns that are inside. Now my urns are red, green, blue, and white. So I don't want to use those colored LEDs because the urns will just kind of fade out underneath that light. I want to use a contrasting light. So it came down in between orange and yellow, and Sue Ann agreed with me. Orange would be about the best color. So that's what these are here. These are orange LED lights. If you've seen the walkthrough video on our haunt, we used a lot of orange lighting over in the spider display, you know, so it'll be that shade. And we're effectively putting a spotlight in on these. Now, for those new to the channel or new to seeing my vlogs, I do all my own lighting in the haunt. I do spots and floods with LEDs, so it's low voltage, runs on 12 volt DC. If anyone's interested, I do pedal a few of the lights too, and can do 10 different colors depending on what you need. Everything from solid colors to blinking colors. You know, if you're interested, leave a comment down below on YouTube or send me a message on Facebook, and we can talk lighting a little bit if you're interested. But anyway, right now I've got to assemble the lights, which is basically soldering. I got to solder the resistor onto the LED and then solder the wiring to the resistor and the LED. And then we've got to put them in there. Fun. You know, I rather do enjoy the soldering aspect of it and assembling the lights. It's kind of therapeutic. Another day, another 2 cents. I ended yesterday with getting all my LEDs wired up. So I got that done. My next stage is this. I've got to get them mounted into the box. And I've got one mounted. I simply, in the hole I drilled, inserted the LED, so it's sticking out slightly, and then ran the wire through the groove, and then stapled it on the back. Once now I gotta do this for all the boxes. Once all the boxes are done, I'm gonna be coming back through with some plastic wood. It's a wood filler. And I'm gonna do what I should have done originally. One, I'm gonna put some of the plastic wood in here to fill this off, level it up, and kind of hide the wire, because I don't want that seen. This is the top of the box and it would be seen. But one thing I didn't do, this project I did right before we started setup, and I just kind of threw them together and slapped some paint on them and went with that. But, you know, like where my staple holes or nail holes are, you know, on all my joints and stuff, I need to go through and fill those too. So since I'm going to be using the wood filler to fill this gouge in, I might as well go over the box and fill in all my gouges, all my holes, and get it cleaned up. Once all the boxes are done, this is going to have to sit for an hour or two so they can dry. Then I can come back to with my sander and sand them, and then we'll be into paint. So, but just to give you an idea what the light looks like, that's all it does. Just a little orange spotlight in there, and the little crematorium urn that I have in the box will be highlighted that way. You know, people will be able to see it. And the spotlight doesn't have to exactly hit the top of the urn. It's basically just to light up the box a bit on the inside. You know, so I'm not overly exact, you know, with my hole. If I was doing it exact, that round circle would be more in the center, which is right where the urn would be. I just want to add a little bit of light in there so the urns stand out a little bit more. So, but anyway, I got one box done. I've got 13 more boxes to do. Because there's 14 total and I've got one done. If I gotta get all the boxes to this state, then I can come back through with the wood filler and fill them, and then it's sitting around and waiting for an hour, a couple hours, until the putty dries. Okay, now we're into the fun part. We got the lights installed, I've got the wood filler in. Now I've got 2 to 3 hours where I'm just going to let these things sit and cure all the way. In other words, let the wood filler dry. Once that's dry, I can come back, give everything a light sanding, and then we can get the outside of the boxes painted, and we'll be that much closer. But that's going to be 2 or 3 hours from now. So I doubt I'll get the project done today. I do know the 3 hours, for the 2 to 3 hours for drying. Sanding will go quick, painting will take a little bit of time, but once the painting's done on these, then I need to let them dry again. They'll probably dry overnight, so we'll have the project finished tomorrow. And we'll have our second project for the season done. Small projects. That's all I'm working on right now, just the small projects. The big projects, you won't be getting so many vlogs. Well, a little bit more progress. End of the day. Just finished the painting on the dark green. I am going to have to come back tomorrow. I got some spots. I don't know if it's showing up on camera where I got a little bit of green on the gray. I got to go back through on a couple of them and do a little touch up here and there. I'm also looking at some of the first ones I did, like this one here, and this one's almost dry. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a little splotchy. I'm thinking that I'm going to need to give them a second coat. I don't know. I might leave them kind of splotchy. I might not. I'm going to have to talk to the wife, aka the set dresser, and see what she says. If I leave them kind of splotchy, it gives them more of an aged look, like, you know, they've been in the wall for a while. But then again, I like the idea of them not being splotchy. So I may end up having to give them a coat of paint in the morning and then touch up a little bit here and there on the gray too. But we are closer. Technically, we should be done with this tomorrow. I've got, if I do second coat, I've got second coat on these to do. I've got the gray to do. And now I got to get the plexiglass over there cleaned up and reinstalled on here. And these will be done. Another project done. I like that idea. So tomorrow should be last day. But for now, I'm going to let these sit overnight. The first ones I did, I could probably second coat them now if I wanted to. And I don't want to. It's after 7. I'm calling it quits. We'll finish this up tomorrow. I made it down this morning and got all the boxes second coated. So painting's done. The last step I've got to do is with the plexiglass. And I just got to basically reattach it. But I wanted to bring up one thing that's a pain in the ass about using plexiglass. Static cling. Once you get the protective film off of it, for a long time, you get any dust or fine particulate matter around them, and as you can see, this needs to be cleaned. All the plexiglass needs to be wiped down. It is bad with collecting dust. It is just really bad. But anyway, I'm going to get these. I got to get this sheet and all of those reattached to the right boxes. Then we'll hook up a bunch of them. Actually, I'm going to be hooking them all up eventually to test to make sure all the wiring and stuff is done and there's no problem with the LEDs. But then we're going to be done with this project. I'll give you a look at these, a couple of them at least, lit up once the plexiglass is in. Oh, there you go. Project's finished. I've got the plexiglass on them. I've only wired up 3. I am not going to try to wire up all 13 along with the big one. They all look the same. The only difference is the big one has 2 LEDs in it. Now, for those of you that followed my vlogs last season, you know when I did the mausoleum, I made these boxes to hold some little crematorium urns that I'd gotten off of eBay. Now, I've got 13 of the small ones, and then I spent 60 bucks and bought a full-sized one for the big box. During the day, because we are open for a couple hours during the day, so those little ones that can't handle going through at night with everything turned on can go through and have a little bit of Halloween fun. And we get quite a few people during the day when we're open. You could see the urns just fine. But at night, when we brought up the low voltage lighting, I think this year we had flickering blue in there. Even though I had the lights pointed down toward where the urns were at, it was just too shadowy. You couldn't really tell what was in them unless you got your nose right up against them. So putting lights in them will take care of that problem. Now we'll light the boxes up and I'll be able to see the urns. But this project, other than getting back here and bundling the wires up for storage, are done. Now I'm going to bundle the wires now, and then these are going into storage. So effectively, second project for the 2021 season is done. Second project for the winter project series, done. Next project, going to be an interesting one. I'm revisiting something I'm not looking forward to revisiting. Stay spooky, stay toxic.